Yeah. And then there's a chat down here.
Oh, okay.
Hello? Oh, I see people. Hey, we did it, Billie.
Jackpot. We're smart.
Live. And I see people. There's people watching. Hey, we did it, Billie. Oh, you can hear that in the background. We're just getting it figured out. Let's turn that volume off. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself real quick. I am Liz, and I am the marketing specialist for the Bovine. And we've had a Bovine podcast for a while, and I thought this would be a fun way to sort of reinvent, and not reinvent the podcast, but get to know some local improvisers around Denver. And so first, our first guest for the esteemed new interview process is Billie.
Hi.
Hey, Billie. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about like how long you've been improvising and your improv experience?
Okay. Hi, I'm Billie, for those of you who don't know me. I have been improvising for, I think, like around 10 years. I auditioned for a college team, for a team that I did not go to the college, but I think they just needed women. And so they were like, sure, you can join our improv team. And I had never taken a class or done anything like that. And that was in Norfolk, Virginia. So that was like my first run-in with improv. And it was, I'd say like 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
I don't remember. I was not of college age.
Did you just like, I'm just imagining this, you just showed up on campus one day and you're like, I'm here to improvise. And they were like, where's your student ID? And you're like, I don't know. I don't have one.
Ask me. It was like a bunch of dudes sitting around. Like this was back before iPhones existed. It was just like playing Snake on the Nokia. Yeah. It was like me and like one other chick showed up to audition. They didn't ask for an ID, and I never told them I didn't go to school there. So
I love it. Did you ever, like, after you got to know them? No.
I was on a college improv team at a college I did not attend.
Oh my gosh, I totally want them to see you someday and find out, like, hear this clip or just find out that you.
If I ever get famous, they're gonna be like, you owe us.
Yeah. Oh no, you got your start with us. So then what brought you to Denver? Like what made you start improvising in Denver? What were you doing right before? Because I know you had experience out in California.
Yeah, so I was living in San Diego, and I lived in LA for a while. And while I lived in LA, I did zero improv, which makes no sense at all.
I know.
I lived there for an entire year, didn't do anything. And then I moved down to San Diego. I got married. I had a kid, and then I was like, oh, I should do improv in LA. So I started going to the Groundlings up in LA. I auditioned there, and I did their level 1 and their level 2. I need to do their level 3, but I need to do it in like a condensed version.
Sure.
And then while I was doing Groundlings, I was also doing improv in San Diego, and I was doing it at Finest City Improv. And I started off taking class at Finest City. And then I quickly got on the sketch team there, and I was on a House Herald team. And then I was teaching a level 2 sketch class, which was super fun. And I was also volunteering with some like children's improv.
Oh, cool. So it sounds to me like you got in there and you really just like, you carved a space for yourself in that within the Groundlings and within what you were doing at Finest City.
Well, Groundlings was hard. That was like the scariest place on earth to do improv.
Were you with anyone famous? Like that you
No, but anytime you would go and see classes there, like there would always be like a random famous person that would show up to do it. Like Flo from Progressive is a groundling, and she performs all the time.
Yeah.
But one time I was sitting in class, and there was kind of like, and you don't talk at Groundlings class. Like you were quiet. You have a notebook. Like you were taking notes. You were like focused.
Yeah.
And there was like a commotion. I was like, what's going on? I need to know. And I turned around, and Melissa McCarthy is like standing like at the bottom of our classroom, and we're all just like not listening at all. It was
because it's Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah. I don't get starstruck often, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I would.
Star strikes me.
I just noticed Taylor Winkerter started watching, so we have one viewer right now.
We have 2 YouTube people and 1 viewer.
Yeah, I like it. Speaking of famous people like showing up, I had a show at the Annoyance the other night, and have you ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Yeah.
There's a scene where the woman like sits the in-laws down and she's like, I've got this lump in my throat.
Oh, yeah.
That lady was in the front row of my show.
What? A tour show? That's
it was like a level 1 grad show. It was so funny. Yeah.
Oh, man, were you like side-eyeing her the whole time?
Well, I didn't notice it was her. Like I looked at her and I was like, that lady's wearing a big hat. Like what's going on? Like there's something. And when after we were all in the lobby, someone pointed her out to me and they were like, that's the goiter lady.
He an improviser or just loves improv?
I don't know. I assume the way I think it looked was like she knew someone who had been taking an AP1 class. Mm-hmm. And so she was there to support them in their grad show. So it was pretty solid.
That is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I performed for a chick that was on Girls one time, but I didn't watch Girls. So it didn't strike any chords. Yeah,
that show on MTV.
No, the show on HBO.
Oh, what is the Girl Code is the one I was thinking
okay.
about. You're talking about the big girls with like Lena Dunham and yep. Am I getting it right? I'm so bad. Ooh, Betty's watching too. We got 2. So I guess then tell me about like what brought you to Denver and why you started improvising in Denver.
Well, my husband brought me to Denver.
Okay.
Literally, he dragged me to Denver because I wanted to leave San Diego because I had just gotten in so deep at my theater there, and I had been like asked to teach, and I was like I was asked to be in this sketch team that was like invite only, and so I don't want to go. I have a good thing.
Yeah,
improv for free, like I want to go. So then. When we came here, because he's going to graduate school at DU for psychology. So I told him, I was like, all right, I'm going to dive in. So like within the first week I came and I did like a drop-in type class. And I was like, I don't think I like it here. I don't think the improv's fun. Like I'm not feeling it. And then I took Kent's OTS like crash course, which I highly recommend for anybody who wants to audition for OTS. Like,
go see shows and take Ken's OTS crash course.
It's such a good crash course. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna try this place out. I'm gonna go check it out, like see what it's like. And I'd taken classes at so many places before. I was like, I really hope that like I can just take this class, even though like you're supposed to take classes at the Bovine. So I like sent my educational resume of improv over. Yeah, so that's why we came to that's why we came to Denver. And then the improv scene in Denver is so good. Like
it's really good.
Yes, it is really, really good. And it's like it's good because it's improv. Like I felt like in LA, everybody was like, yeah, I love improv, but like I'm also an actor and I'm gonna get but here it's like genuine love for improv, which is cool.
Yeah. I think you find people that are invested in it, like you said, because they genuinely love it, and that that just sort of it permeates everyone that's doing it. Right. I think that if you have one person around you that's like, I just love it for the love of it, that really sort of trickles down throughout the community.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious about how hard it was, and not to like dredge up painful feelings, but how hard it was to leave and just what that means to be on a team that's invite only and then have to let that go. And luckily you've been able to get involved here, which we'll get into everything that you're doing. How did it feel to even have those opportunities there?
I mean, it was hard. And, obviously at the end of the day, my husband's the breadwinner in his school for psychology versus my sketch improv team in San Diego. And kind of like, I mean, it was hard. It was like the team, like everyone in San Diego is so supportive, and like improv in general is just like the most supportive community. But I mean, I have 2 kids, so sometimes it's like, hey, yeah, we got a Saturday rehearsal. Like I have a baby. So, I mean, I remember one time we were rehearsing for sketch, and my husband had to bring the baby by because she was so new that I had to feed her. And so he like comes in, and like my 4-year-old's like dancing on the stage, and like we're taking a break, and I'm like feeding my baby. And it's just so cool because it's a community. Like, that's okay. Great. Like, bring your kids. So
I love that. Yeah. When I was on Neilbog, one of our members had a baby, and I love that she would bring her to rehearsals sometimes, and then the baby would just steal the rehearsal because she was so adorable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then tell me, like, what are you into right now? I would love to hear at the end just kind of what the Improv Games is all about and what you're loving about that show, but also tell us about what you're like, where can people see you around town, and why do you like each of the shows and teams that you're on?
Well, so I am on like an indie girl team is, I guess, the best way to describe it. It's the Notorious VAG. And we actually have really been trying to get a girl, a ladies only, or identify as a lady, like open jam improv night. And it's like, it's slow going, but like we're starting to get really cool teams. Like Broad Squad joined us, and Facebook Friends, which both teams were so good that it was like, oh, I don't want to go next. Like, we just watched your set. I'm good. Like, it's really good. We'll just call it a night. But it's really cool. So we're trying to like get more women out to jam. And I think jams are important for students too, because it's a time to like go on stage with a bunch of like experienced improvisers who like will really get your back and kind of help you out. So I'm doing that with Notorious VAG.
And when are those jams, and where can people find out information about them?
So we have a Facebook page, Notorious VAG. I think it's the only Notorious VAG out there. So we have a Facebook page. You can find out there. We're doing the jam at Grafenberg Productions, which they just opened a new space. So we're down there. And I think it is, oh, let me check my calendar. I think it's the last Thursday of every month.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I
definitely like a show, like 2 shows, and then like a ladies jam at the end. And that's
so awesome.
Super fun last time.
It's so fun. I love getting to play with people that I don't know. I think because it just works a different side of what you're doing, having to step on stage, and it really has worked. The trust in me that I'm going to go on stage and I'm going to trust. And if I can play with a stranger, I can play with anybody.
Well, and it surprises you too.
Yeah.
Like there's been a couple, I'm just a student, like, and they're really shy, and you're like, okay. And like, I'm just a student. I can't. And then they come out there and they're just awesome. And it's like, okay, like you have nothing to worry about. So
yeah, I can do this. And I just did. Yeah.
That's the other thing that like, I love improv so much because anybody can do it. Like any age, any like skill level, like anybody can do it. Like I did it when I was 40 weeks and 6 days pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
And then the next day I went into labor, and I am not a small pregnant lady. Like not at all. So for me to like hike it up on stage, perform, So that's what I love about it. It's just anybody can do it.
That's what I think that's what I like to get across too. I like being visible as a person with a visible disability and being on stage and just showing people that like your ability and the way that you move your body is not a hindrance. It's actually, I think it's helped me as an improviser to get into my body in a way. So it really is for anyone and everyone. And I think that bringing it to more people is so, it's just beneficial for the art to have more people improvising.
Right.
Yeah.
You asked me other teams. I am on Handsome House-Team, coached by Taylor. Woo woo.
Taylor. Oh, hey Taylor. I hope you're still watching.
She's floating around in there.
So we have 4 viewers. I don't know who the other 2 are.
But yeah, so I'm on Handsome, which is a really fun house team. We start, and we usually we like open for campfire jams. We just did a hoop day. But I unfortunately couldn't do it because I had I have a preschooler that I had to go for a school thing. But everyone on that team is so talented, and like half of the team I think was on Denver's Next Improv Star.
Yeah.
Clayton wasn't, but I keep thinking he was. Like always, I'm always like, he's not Handsome. I'm like, no, he's not.
He totally was.
But Handsome is really fun.
So I've always wondered, I love Handsome as a team. How did all of you being on Denver's Next Improv Star work being on a team? So you're on a team together, and then on Monday nights or Wednesday nights or whenever you rehearse, and then you're competing with each other on Saturday night.
No, I mean, it was nothing. Like,
It was just, that's what it seems like. You're all really close. So
no, everybody's really close. And I mean, even on Denver's Next Improv Star, because I know auditions for that are like coming up soon. What's Taylor saying? Is it Taylor?
Said, woo woo, say only nice things. Great.
Oh, but Denver's Next Improv Star, everybody was so supportive and like so exciting. And then like when people started to leave, it was just like, oh, like you really feel like you miss them being there. And it's weird. Like especially when it was down to the final four and we're like sitting upstairs and there's like nobody there and you're like
so quiet.
Yeah.
You miss the energy because you start with such a big cast and then it starts to trickle down every week and you end up with
when you're in the green room with everybody.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I can move my arms. Yeah.
So I mean, Handsome is great, and there was so many talented. There is so many people talented on Handsome, and it's a really. Sometimes like I don't break very often when I'm playing. Like it's like my thing. I'm like no, like I'm not breaking, but I cannot hold it together at rehearsal.
When you play,
like, no, at rehearsal I am just like in tears, crying because like there's like kind of just like an open.
Yeah. Well, I always had team envy. Like I always really wanted to be on that team.
It was so handsome.
Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna show up one Wednesday. Like here I am. I'm on the team now.
I'm here, guys. So it's really funny about the way that we got the name Handsome. I'm being beckoned. Hey, Mike. There's a baby up there. There's a baby upstairs in my house. So the funny thing, Andrea, when she was taking, I think like level 2, her and Allison were sitting in class, and this very, very good looking man like walks in to I think it was the corral. And in Andrea's head, she's thinking, oh, this guy's really handsome. But instead of thinking that in her head, she goes, handsome. And like just his deep, scary voice like says handsome out loud and just like, what? What? Did I do that out loud?
Oh my God.
Did I just say that? I did. Yeah. So when we first got together, we like all like were telling like embarrassing stories. And that was her like, ew. And then we were just like, it was such like one of those like inside jokes that we weren't even a part of.
Yeah. It was everybody felt like they got to be a part of it through the story.
Yeah, exactly. So.
That's awesome. Well, it's a really great team. Do you have any shows for Handsome coming up or anything big and exciting coming up with Handsome?
I don't know where my calendar is.
Yeah.
Handsome is in Diff. We are in
That's what I was getting at, but I didn't want to ask a leading question.
Yes. Handsome is in Denver's next, or Denver. There's too many Denver
Denver Improv Festival. That's what I'm wearing from last year.
I'm just wearing a purple shirt.
That's really exciting. Congratulations.
So that'll be super cool. I have kind of been on a Handsome hiatus just because we were traveling for 2 weeks. So I haven't seen the team for a while. And then I don't know if you can tell, but I usually don't have a raspy voice. I lost my voice last week and it was a nightmare. So I kind of played it easy last night and I had a school thing. So
yeah.
But yeah. Diff is huge for Handsome, and that's going to be super fun.
Oh yeah, I think the Diff this year is the first weekend of November. In case anybody is curious, and you can check them out. Information for that at the Group Mind Foundation. If you just Google that, I never remember if they're .com or .org, but I think it's groupmindfoundation.org would be my guess. I should know. Yeah.
Google Denver Improv.
I'll look it up. And then tell me about the Improv Games.
Oh, okay. So the Improv Games are so fun. It's like, so the whole theme, when Eric told me about it, he's like, oh, it's kind of like Hunger Games. I'm like, oh, okay. Like that's the general vibe. I didn't realize how deep he went with Hunger Games. Yeah. So my character very much has like an Effie Trinket vibe where she's just like very bossy and demanding. She wants you to like her, but she's kind of nasty and she doesn't really care if you get exiled to District 13, which is the Spolin Room. So, and the Spolin Room is the room in the back of the theater that you can rent out for events. So it's such a fun game. And then last week we had 2 great teams. We had Epic Nap Time, which I kept wanting to call Epic Snap Time.
Nap Time. I love though, they were wearing pajamas.
Yeah.
Like they took their theme and they really ran with it.
If
they
they
really
would not have been wearing pajamas, I would have called them Snack Time. So
yeah.
They were wearing pajamas. And then the other team was Snark NATO, which I also kept messing up the name on it because I lived in San Diego for 12 years and we have Coronado. So when the movie Sharknado came out, I kept calling it Sharknado because that made more sense to my brain. So I was like, oh, I can't mess up everybody's name. But it was so fun because the tributes come out, and the tributes are all like the careers come out, and those are like OTS players.
Yes,
been around.
OTS is the short form show at the Bovine called On the Spot. It's really similar to Whose Line Is It Anyway? With short form games. It's really fast paced and fun with audience interaction. Just in case people don't know what OTS.
I feel like On the Spot is a really good like gateway drug for improv.
Yeah,
that's a really easy way in. It's fun. So, anyways, they come out as careers, and they really play it up. Like they announce all the games in the format of like in District 12, like rapping is all the rage. So we'll do Mike D for them, which is really cool.
Yeah.
They just, and they're dressed up and they just play it up and it's really fun. But then the teams come out, and some of these teams are people I have never seen play before. And I'm dying in the back. I'm just like, this is so funny. And then I forget, I'm like, oh my God, I'm on stage. I have to like not look crazy face like the audience member. It's just so fun. And then it's so fun that as like an improviser, I'm like, oh, just let me get in there. And I can't. I'm like, but yeah, watching all the teams and like just seeing them get to like play these like short form games.
Yeah.
They get to choose a short form game. And then it's like they choose a category and it's drawn from random. So just like seeing the interaction is really fun. And I don't know, I love good friendly competition. Probably why I liked Denver's Next Improv Star so much. But it's good. It's fun. It's friendly. And in improv, everyone has everyone's back.
Yeah.
And so it's not scary. Also, we have a couple slots available still.
Yes, so. I think there are still slots. So if you have a 3-person short form team and you'd like to get in on the Improv Games, you can email Denise at bovinemetropolis.com and let her know that you're interested. You can also, I think, sign up still online at the Improv Games show page. And then you could win $1,000. That's the prize. That's a pretty big prize. So yeah. It's super fun. I think one of my favorite parts of watching the show is watching the host get into the show.
Oh yeah.
It's just because it's fun to watch you all in the background and see how into it you are. But also because I have those moments too, which part of being an improviser sort of ruins improv for you in the sense that like I'll go see a show and they're having so much fun and all I want to do is jump onto the stage and play with them, or like I have an idea and I want to do it. And instead of just getting to enjoy it, I'm thinking, oh, what could they do next?
I love it when you're watching it and you're like, oh, I would say that. And then someone says it and you're like, yes, I'm right. Improv. It was really hard for me watching the careers play last week, especially when they're like asking for suggestions, because the suggestions were just really funny how they were pulling them. And I'm like, I have one. I have one. Like, my turn.
I want to get in.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, I think the Improv Games plays on Thursday nights at 7:30 and is really fun. And your character is hilarious. I could not stop laughing at you, especially when you'd yell, District 13! You do it so much better than I do it, but it's so good. Also the really cool thing is if you come to the show, you get like the audience chooses the winner for that night. Yes, it's very interactive. You get to vote as long as you pay for your ticket for the show. You get a little ballot, so you get to vote who moves on to the next round. Yeah, super cool. Yeah. Last would be like, what do you like about On the Spot? Because we got to do that show together, and you're so fun and good at it, and you have such a great rapport with the audience. So maybe explain short form a little bit and what you like about it. So short form it's kind of like game improv. It's very like quick, fast paced. Like it's probably the fastest paced improv you're going to do, just because you'll get us like, give me a suggestion. And like one of our games we play is 101, and you
are given a, like, oh, you're given the word yak, and then you have to come up with 101 yaks walk into a bar, and you have to make a joke in that format. So it's very fast paced. You don't have time to think. And it's almost like watching a bunch of mini shows, because each game feels totally different each time. Like there's a game of replay where you do a scene and then you redo it and you go backwards and you go forwards and you go backwards. So it's so fun. And it's really fun for audience members like me. When I go to any type of show, I'm like, pick me. It's just fun because the audience is right there with you, and there's so many suggestions, and you have a chance to come up on stage and play with the cast members. So I think that's a really cool aspect of it. And then we also play as like who we are, which is fun. Like we usually start the game with like telling a true story about us based off of word association. So I think that's really cool, because then you actually get to know the people that you're watching perform. Whereas if you come out and you do long form, you could be in a character all night and they have no sense of like who you actually are as a person.
Yeah.
So I think that's really fun. And then the other thing about On the Spot is the rehearsals are so fun.
That's the best. Why do people rehearse improv? So that was actually one of my questions on here. Is I've had people ask the question of like, well, if it's improv, why do you have to have rehearsal? I don't understand what you're doing in rehearsal.
Right. Well, I mean, even though it's improv, there are rules to improv, like, you know, and you can break them. Like if you get really experienced in improv, it's okay to ask questions, because asking questions is a big no-no in improv, and saying no is a big no-no, and arguing. But if you get to a really advanced level, you know, sometimes you can do those things. But it's good to practice, because one, it just keeps your skills sharp. You know, it's like in the bike in a long time, like you might hop on it and be a little rusty, like it'll eventually pick up and you'll be good. But it's just good to like constantly just like be like active in your craft. And then the other thing is you build a rapport with your teammates. And that was my biggest like hesitation on Denver's Next Improv Star, because I was like, there was people that I did not get paired with until we were down to like the final 5. And I had not got on stage with that person like one time.
Yeah.
That was nerve-wracking for me, because I'm like, because for Denver's Next Improv Star, you don't rehearse. You have 3 rehearsals in the beginning and that's it. But you never really get a lot of play time with people. And so it just, I don't know, it feels more comfortable when you like just know the person. And then I also think the more you play with people, the better you play. Like you can step on stage and play with anybody, which is awesome. But when you play with someone you play with all the time, it's really fun too, because then you just like, you kind of know not where they're going. So you're not feeding them, but you just like know how they play. And it's also kind of comforting too. Yeah.
You get to play off of one another, and you know, oh, this person really likes this kind of thing. So you can either set them up for it or prevent them from it.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Chloe says, shout out to the best and most glamorous Improv Games host.
I have pajama on right now.
We won't tell Luke from last year, because this is his second year, but we'll just shh.
Well, I don't think he'll be offended if he's not the most glamorous.
Yeah, maybe the best part. And then, I don't know, I guess I'm just curious, like overall, why you improvise and what you love about it, because it's, and maybe something, I think talking about like how maybe changed your life, or something that you wish you would have known when you first started, or something that you would like to impart on anyone that might be watching or thinking about taking a class.
So I do improv, you know, because I am a mom. I have 2 kids. I have I have an almost 5-year-old, and I have like an almost 2-year-old, and they are demanding. And, you know, no matter how good you are at being a mom, at the end of the day, you're like, man, that was really hard. And no one said, thanks for being a great mom. Like there's no boss to like pat you on the back or like give you a raise. I guess a raise would be like you get another kid because you're good at it. I don't want a raise.
You leveled up.
You leveled up. You got another baby. You get an extra life. So that's it. That is one reason I do it, because it gives me time to like be away and not be like Lucy and Delilah's mom. It lets me, and like, not that I like crave praise or anything, but it's just so fun being like recognized for something that I'm good at, because it's a talent of mine. not because like I'm just a good mom. I'm Lucy and Delilah's mom. And my husband's in like a super rigorous program. So his schedule is just so crazy. I mean, most of the times when I have rehearsal or a show, I have to get a babysitter because our schedules are just like so busy. So, you know, I'm not known as Mike's wife at improv. I'm not Lucy and Delilah's mom. Like I am there because people enjoy what I'm doing for them, which is really fun. And that's why because it's just like a chance. It's like you lose so much of yourself when you become a parent that it gives you that little, like, it's like, oh, there you are, Billy. Like, you know, it like lets you be who you are and like just escape. So that is why I do improv.
Snaps to you, mama. Well, and I think that what you touched on earlier is that anyone can improvise and everyone can improvise. And I think it's so cool to have played with you and to know that that is your experience, that you are a mother. And so you get to bring all of that reality to your scenes and your characters and really like influence who you are. And you can also totally step away from it and be characters that don't have kids if you want. You know, you get to play both sides of that character situation.
We were driving up to CSU for one of the CSU on the spot gigs. Mm-hmm. And I remember Dan was like, hey, he's like, I think it's so cool that you're a mom. Or he's like, I think like it's so cool you're a mom and you do improv. I'm like, because I'm so good at it. And he's like, it just gives me hope that like when I have kids, like I can still do it. And I was like, well, okay, that too. But it was just like, it was nice because I was like, oh, cool. Like, you know, like that's why I like it, because I can do it with kids. I can do it when I'm super pregnant. Heck, I played on the spot the other night and my voice sounded way worse than this. So it was probably the most physical on the spot I've ever played because like I didn't have a huge voice that night.
Sure. So and you got to use it, right? You got to use what was going on in your real life to sort of tailor your performance for that night. And it doesn't take away, it just changes it. You know, it makes you work a different muscle, I think.
And then for anybody who's like, oh, I don't know if I should take improv, the answer is always yes. Just like you'll learn in improv, it's always yes. And
so great.
I tell my husband this all the time. I'm like, you need to take at least a level, just a drop-in class. I won't go. I won't watch you.
Yeah, I won't judge you.
Yeah, but I just think it's so good because it just gets you out of your head. Like there's no wrong answer. There's no right answer. Like it just gets you out of your head. It kind of opens you up. And just like, it's fun to just kind of be a child, I guess, almost, because like you're playing make-believe and you're just having fun and you're saying whatever you want to and just enjoying it.
Yeah. And you're with other people who are also doing the same thing. So it's really, I think, like collaborative in that way. Yeah. Do you have a favorite game? And also, do you try to improvise with Mike? Because I try to get Matt to improvise with me. And sometimes he'll do it. Like we'll do characters. We did all those characters when we moved out here to Chicago in the U-Haul. Does he ever go along with you, or is he
strictly right here right now? And I'm like, should he make a cameo?
Yeah. Hi, Mike.
Mike, want to come say hi? He's also in his pajamas, so
that's okay.
He made a cameo in my Denver's Next Improv Star video.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, what's your favorite on the spot game?
Are you in Chicago right now?
I am in Chicago.
The magic of the internet, I tell you.
Yeah, right? Can you believe it? What is that? I wanted to do these while I was in Colorado, and then I put it off and was like, well, there's programs that do this, so we'll just do it like this.
So high tech. What's your favorite on the spot game?
What was the black licorice one?
Oh, Skiba.
Skiba.
Liquorfish.
Liquorfish. I thought your favorite was Try That On for Size.
I like Try That On for Size. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Try That On for Size is really
Try That On for Size is my favorite.
Yeah.
It's so physical, you know.
Mimic each other where you say the same words at the exact
strangely speaking.
Yes. Yeah. So me and I do that one all the time. So that's fun.
That's a fun one.
But yeah, he's made a couple cameos.
Cool.
He was in my Denver's Next Improv Star video.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And then I used to host a couple shows in San Diego for an aerial studio where I just did a lot of like character work that was improvised, and I pulled him up on stage a couple of times.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was one thing you talked about, a show. I had asked you, like, if you could produce your dream show, or like what's something that you would like to see in Denver?
Talking to me still?
No.
But I like that you're there. Stay. Don't go
It's like
anywhere.
my little like devil or my angel.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
I did get to produce a show for Denver's Next Improv Star. I produced From the Mouths of Babes, which was really fun. And I loved that. Basically, I gave a suggestion to my 5-year-old, 4.5-year-old, and she told me a story about it. And then we improvised off that story, which was really cool because they say the weirdest things.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
May I be excused?
You may be excused.
You are excused, good sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, bye. Good to see you.
He's improvising. Look at him.
He's improvising. Yay!
So that was a really fun show. But if I could just, you only have such a short amount of time to get that together that you can't do really what you want to do. So my like dream show would be kind of what I used to do in San Diego at the Ariel studio that I worked at, would be a bunch of characters that were kind of like set, kind of like my Effie character.
Yeah.
And you come out and you interact with the audience. You kind of have a general, like a general idea what's going to happen, but it's very audience interactive. Like I love breaking the fourth wall. Like,
oh yeah.
Like it's
what's the fourth wall?
Oh, the fourth wall is the invisible wall between the performers and the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So I love just breaking that wall right down. So that would be my like dream show. It's just like a whole bunch of random characters changing costumes, like super fast, coming out, doing different scenes, doing different like audience interactions. Just kind of like a variety show, I guess.
That sounds super fun. I hope you do it.
I want to.
Yeah. And then I will probably talk about some of the stuff that's coming up at the Bovine, but is there anything else you want to add, or do you feel like we didn't cover anything?
I think everyone should take an improv class.
Yes, do it. Sign up.
Taking an improv class. I think you should 100% come and watch and support local artists because that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. Well, and people can they can sign up for the next level 1 improv class at the Bovine, which starts on August 23rd, and that's with Andre Ford. If you are friends with him on Facebook, he was in DNIS with me, and you can also see him in On the Spot as a host and a player, and also Improv Cabaret. And then if you're like, I don't want to sign up for a full 8 weeks of classes, we have an intro to improv class with none other than Mr. Greg Counts. And that is on August 24th, which is my birthday. So if you could do anything for me for my birthday, it would be to go take an improv class, intro to improv at the Bovine.
I'll send Mike for your birthday present.
Yes. Oh, please do. Tell him that's all I would want for my birthday is for him specifically to take an improv class.
Maybe Greg will sing The Wheels on the Bus Go Round.
Oh, that was so good.
You gotta come to the improv game.
I don't know if Betty's still watching, but Betty, your husband cracked us both up at the Improv Games last Thursday.
It was like one of those. It was a try that on for size, and it was hula hooping. And Greg was like, "The wheels on the bus go round." I was like, "That's it. I'm leaving the stage. I'm done. Like I am done. Like if I had a bell, I would have been ringing it."
Wheels on the bus. That's what she says. Yes. It was so good. And that's the thing about improv. It's like, if you don't go see the show, or if you don't sign up and take the class, there's always another show to go to, but you miss out on those really funny moments. And so I always encourage everybody to go see shows. And then this week we have the Improv Games Thursday night, 7:30. On Wednesday night, we have, I believe, the closing night of the grad show, Barely Tales, which I believe is class 88. Saturday and on Friday, you can catch both On the Spot at 8 o'clock. And then right after that is Improv Cabaret, which I love how you describe it, but just like if you like cigarette smoking and sexy, jazzy, dark, Fosse style musicals. Okay. Yeah, fake smoking on stage. Tune in for the Improv Cabaret. Gosh, Billie, I thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, this was super fun.
I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely. I guess before we go, I should ask if anyone out there watching has any questions for Billie before we actually sign off. Because I was going to ask for questions halfway through, and I just got so into talking to you that I forgot. So we'll give it a minute and see if any questions come through. I was watching one of these the other day, and the people weren't talking. Like, they were waiting for people to just get on and ask them questions. So the first 20 minutes was just silence.
No, that's when you just gotta talk about it. I was doing a Facebook Live video when I was very pregnant, and Lucy was, she was like about to turn 3. She was like 3 or something. And she runs in and she goes, you can't see her, it's just me talking. And she comes in, she goes, "Daddy's in jail, mommy." And I'm like, yeah, okay, great. And like, they were playing a game, but like, no one knows that. Like, no one knows my husband's not in jail. And then about 10 minutes later, I hear like, boom, 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 boom. Oh, and that was her tripping down the stairs. I was like, all day been fine. And then like just 10 minutes of a Facebook Live video, and it's like, "Daddy's in jail, I'm falling down the stairs."
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. That's like, it's kind of like an improv scene, right? You're like setting down one path and you don't know what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden.
Well, like, another thing that I like, that's so exciting, like besides just like why I do improv, because it's me time. I love it because when you go on stage, like I'm thinking like, I'm going in stage. Oh, yay, Laura.
Yeah, I know. I just read that and I was like, oh, Laura, yes, do it again.
Come and do it.
Yeah. It's so fun. And the Bovine community is amazing. And I know like the community just in general around Denver is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Not even at the Bovine, but yeah, there's classes everywhere.
Yeah, so like the cool thing about when you walk on stage is like I'm walking on stage and like it's kind of hard just to like, you may not have an idea of like what the scene is going to be, but you have an idea of like what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And you can be starting a scene like the classic, like chopping something, and someone comes out and like does something and like says like, "Oh, great, I love your grandma's new braid." And you're like, "Yep, I'm braiding grandmother's hair." Like that's exactly like it just, you have no idea which way it's going to go, which is sometimes the best scenes that I've been in, just been like, what? No.
Well, it's that philosophy of, we talked about this before we named Nilbog and the Day Drinkers. We were going to be called Graveside Sandwiches. And it was that exact idea. It was like, if you went lights up and one person was maybe kneeling by a graveside and the other person is sitting there like making a sandwich. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you look at each other and you're like, I'm making a tuna sandwich next to a headstone, you know, and that's what you have. And that's what you go with. And that's the gift that the improv universe gave you. And that's the scene that you're meant to play.
Well, and then every time that you say yes, it just takes it down like another rabbit hole that you have no idea.
Yeah.
Can happen. So and that's so fun.
Yeah, it really is the best. Laura, I'm so excited that you're going to take classes at the Bovine, or at least get back. There's House-Team auditions, there's all sorts of things going on. So yeah, you can check out the website at bovinemetropolis.com. Oh, well, I should let you go, but I don't really want to because I really miss home, and this made me homesick.
Come back.
Yeah, I'll be back in October, at like the end of October. And then I'll be home for 3 weeks over like the holidays. So between like December 21st and January 3rd, I think.
For the Christmas party?
Oh my gosh. Did you see my jumper last year? I'm going to have to up my game. Oh, when I fell down?
Well, it's so funny because last year when I went to the Christmas party, I was very new. Like I had here in August, I think I did the Kent's workshop. I only knew like a handful of people. I'm like, I'm gonna go to this party by myself. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
That too.
You came and then you met me and then I fell down and you were like, she's a mess.
But like, that's another thing about improv that's really great. It's like, I came here, I had no friends except for my children, and they have to be my friends. Mm-hmm. And I've made so many, like I'm so involved, and you can just get as involved. Like sometimes I'm too involved. I'm like, and I have to be like, hey, like give me a break. Like I have said yes to too many things.
Yes.
Sometimes you can say yes. And so it's just like, it engulfs you, and it just gives you such a fun thing to be involved in. And not a lot of parents and not a lot of adults have hobbies that they love.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
I think they do. Well, and we're trained to say yes and I think some of us very much take that to heart within our lives, you know, and so you say yes and to life and opportunities, and sometimes that's being on way too many improv teams or just always saying yes, but I think it created so many more opportunities by saying yes than by saying no.
I mean, technically, I am on Improv Cabaret, but I haven't been able to like.
Yeah.
Had to like wait a second. I need a hiatus really quick, and then once things kind of, then I'm gonna go there, which will be
it's such a fun show. Yeah, it's just like and all that jazz. I love it.
Really want to wear fringe.
Right? I know. And, you know, I always want to be on that show, but I have my cane and it's like pink polka dots. And I'm like, maybe I need to get one of those black.
You need a rhinestone
crystal, like the big crystal on the top that like you would expect, like the Fred Astaire days or whatever.
You could also just get a hook, like a gigantic hook, like that. Yeah, could easily be used in that show.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'll work my way up to. Maybe someday that I'll actually be able to dance. That's my next. I tackled improv. Like dancing is my next hurdle.
Speaking of dancing, I saw you. I think it was was it? What team were you on that you danced in the beginning?
Oh, it was. It was Squid Goat when I'd come out from the back.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you didn't dance because I died when I saw that. Like I was like, that was the best thing ever. Like you were just like there and like you even looked like you were breathing heavy. Like you
they would all start a dance to begin with. And we had talked about me trying it, but I got nervous that first night. And I was like, I can't. Like, I'm just going to be the joke if I dance. I don't want to do that. So when they all finished dancing and John Capizzuto went and took the spotlight to get the suggestion, I just like jumped from the back and took his spot and was like,
it was so good. I was just like crying. One of my favorites.
And then I felt guilty. I was like, because the audience was laughing so hard, I was like, I took too much focus. Like that was really not a team player move. I was so mad at myself for doing it.
So good. But I liked it because it just set up the whole show for success because we're like, yay, we love these people.
Yeah. Oh, so fun. Oh, well, thank you so much. We had 5 viewers. I'm hoping that we'll get more viewers after the fact. And you can post comments to me or Billy after you watch the video, and I'll try to get back and answer them. And if you have any questions about the bovine, please reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. So
cool.
All right. Bye, Billy. Bye, Laura. Bye, Chloe. Bye, Betty. Bye, Taylor.
All right. Bye.
Bye.